Halloween
forever.
Hey there, Adam. How's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you tonight, Steve?
I'm pretty good. Hey, Adam, did you know that Santa works a little different in Germany?
I did not know that.
Yeah, he divides his list between Nazi or nice. Ayo, bow, 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 bow. Welcome, everybody, to another minisode of Halloween is Forever. Bow, 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 bow. Dan is mad. Great. The one patron we have in the Discord right now is mad. Great. Awesome.
We have appeased the entire audience.
Yes, we've done exactly what we set out to do. Piss off the one person we know for sure is listening. Great. Awesome. With that, though, hey, it's a little different. It's Christmas time, and everybody knows that Brian and I split off to do as many recordings as possible to bank all that for the holidays, so we don't have to record during actual Christmas week because he has kids and I have alcoholism.
And at the end of the day, they both feel like the same thing.
Yeah, they both make you tired and both wake you up at weird times of the day.
And a headache can hit at any point in time.
Yes. So with that in mind, I've brought on my past co-host from the Hop Nation USA podcast, Adam, and he's going to help me go through this absolute dreg of a movie called Elves from 1989. What a fascinating film it is.
You know how to pick them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. This movie is pretty infamous, despite it not having just like a wide viewership, but it's like an infamous film because it comes from like that VHS era. I know usually, when Brian and I are talking, we'll ask each other if we've seen it because it's possible we've seen it. I know there's no fucking way you saw this movie.
No, not a clue. It was not on my radar. I didn't know at all, and
Yeah.
I kind of wish it stayed that way.
Sure. The one clip though that like always bounces out into the ether, and I've seen it on Instagram a number of times, so I was wondering if you'd maybe seen the clip on Instagram, but it's the scene where Detective Santa confronts the man in his home during Christmas dinner. And then
I love that scene.
It's the fastest speed run of exposition you've ever seen. You saw it in context with the movie, but like, had you seen it on Instagram where it's just...
I had not, but I still had the same thought. But you know what? He only had 1 minute.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he only had 1 minute, had to get out. But yeah, just imagine coming across that on Instagram, isolated from itself, and just a man breaks into a home and says, "Tell me how the Nazis and the elves are related."
Well, you got two options, sir.
Yeah, you got two options. And they go like this. And then there's this one I like better. Fucking great scene. We'll get to it later. In the meantime, Adam, are you drinking on anything?
I am, and I am in a bit of a festive mood. So I'm sticking with a classic. I've got some good old-fashioned cranberry and vodka, but I ran out of vodka.
Oh, okay. So it's just cranberry.
So it's just cranberry juice. So, hey, if nothing else, it's good for the kidneys.
Yeah. Always, I don't know how often they occur around the holiday time, but if you're fighting a urinary tract infection, hey, go for it.
Yeah. And you know what? The tartness, it's nice. It's a nice change of pace.
Yeah, it's nice. It's just a little bit of juice. I've been not necessarily drinking better, but it's like I had a week because of Thanksgiving and then my birthday and then it's Christmas. I tend to eat like shit.
I understand that completely.
As most people do, but I just shit. And then I feel bad. I feel bloated. So like this week I've been eating a little better. I've been having like cucumbers and hummus for a lot of meals and,
Ooh.
Yeah, fuck, it's tight. Like it's tight and it's fresh and it's good because I did yesterday go to Bowser's and get a smoked Reuben.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So you need the cucumbers and you need the cucumbers and the carrots and the salads and the hummus to fight the fucking gout sandwich that I basically took down.
It's all about balance, you know.
Yeah, it's give and take.
And like you said, the cucumbers and the hummus, that's refreshing. You know,
yes.
It's a nice little pick-me-up.
Yes. The cucumbers and hummus are also helping combat what I'm drinking, which is...
What is that, Steve?
It's just more dark and, you know, it's the cold winter months. But I got from...
All weather is stout weather.
Yeah, from our good friends at Abjuration. It is the Rye Brown Porter.
Ooh.
It's a bit old. It's been sitting in the back of the fridge, but I found it and I go, oh, yay. How about that? Look at that.
Look at this little guy. He needs some attention.
It's brown. Yeah. brown means a dark ale. It'll keep. That's my...
That's right. Brown goes down.
Yeah. Black IPA, Cascadian ale, any kind of Schwarzbier, any kind of stout. It's dark. It'll keep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So what are the details on this beer? I got any numbers associated with it?
So it's a 6.0 on the ABV.
Okay.
And I didn't jump on Abjuration's website to get into the recipe because even I know it's still on there. But like I said, this is an older ale. They wouldn't like me promoting it as much anyway because they always want you drinking as fresh as possible.
Right. And I assume that batch is already gone.
Yeah.
Because it does not last long.
Yeah. I mean, this beer might be a year old if it's not
all right.
more. So
it's a classic.
Yeah. It's just a beer that like it somehow escaped me just the way I have my fridge set up. It escaped me and I was going through my fridge and pretty much everything in there right now is between 10 and 14%.
Oh.
Yeah. And we recorded last night and I had a 10% and I was like, that's fine. I don't know that I want another one tonight. And so lo and behold, there was this little gift of an old brown porter in the back. So
the gods smiled upon you.
Yes. Yes. Or the elves.
Oh.
Probably not.
No, definitely not.
No.
I got all sorts of questions with this movie.
Great. Before we get to it, though.
Yes.
We did have a poll that went up last week, and it's for our January Showdown. And so...
What were the options?
Well, that's what I'll get to. We had 3 options go up, as they do every month. And if you don't know what a Showdown episode is, that's where we let our audience, Adam, they go ahead and they pick what the topic's going to be.
I like it. It gives them a little piece of the pie.
Yes. And then Brian and I will pick the movies out of that topic, and then we'll show down and we'll say, hey, this movie's better than this movie. No, my movie's better than your movie. And then it gets violent. And we start throwing glass in each other's eyes, suplexes off the ladder, right through the table, setting tables on fire, fucking bringing out the package pal driver. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wild.
As it should be.
Right. But for January, we had 3 topics. And those topics were urban legends. So movies that would have been based on urban legends. We all know like the classic guy with a hook for a hand one. There's a bunch out there, but we could also expand it to things like, maybe the Babadook. We can consider that an urban legend because of the way that film is set up. We had best movies with bad titles.
Oh, now that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. And we think like the seminal example of that is a movie called Life Force. Okay, called Life Force. What do you think it's about,
pretty
Adam?
Generic.
Yeah, what do you think it's about?
Well, I assume it's some sort of celestial thing where there's life forces like, the Star Wars The Force.
You started on kind of the right track, but you went wrong.
Okay.
It is celestial because it's about space vampires. And it's
of course it is.
Yeah, and it's directed by the director of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it has Patrick Stewart's head fucking exploding in it. So the title Life Force is bad. It also has like a hot naked vampire lady.
Okay, all right. They really screwed themselves with that name. Yeah.
Yeah. Like literally the movie ends with pretty much all of London burning down. So Yeah, the movie's fucking crazy. Bad title.
But they buried it with the title. It died on the marquee.
Yeah. But I mean, it has like a cult following. Everybody loves that film because it rules. And our final topic was Hungry for Horror. And that's something we did in the past. And that's basically just kind of like any movie that's about like cannibalism or features food in a way. So like we previously did the film Ravenous, if you remember that one, with Guy Pearce in it. And we also did a movie on Netflix called The Platform, which is about like people kind of locked into kind of a Saw or Cube situation. And then there's a platform of food that comes down and they have to learn to share the food.
Oh, okay.
Because it moves level by level. It's an interesting film.
That sounds nice.
It's not, but
because we all get to learn to work together.
Yeah.
You know, synergy. It's all about the synergy.
Yeah. So those were our choices. But the winning choice for January, by one vote across all of our social media polls, by one vote, was best movies with bad titles.
Awesome. That's the one I was pulling for.
Well, good. You have the correct taste, and we can just consider you another vote. So it's 2. We're 2 over now.
All right. I'm tilting the table just a little bit more.
Yeah. Put your thumb on the scale. According to Adam, we made the right choice. Our audience was correct.
Way to go, audience. You did all right.
Smart. So yeah, in January, we'll be picking the best movies with bad titles. And this will be pretty wild because we can just choose from anywhere. So that's great. Mm-hmm. The other thing we did, and I mentioned it when we recorded yesterday, and I was drinking that 10%, I was drinking a Southern Tier tiramisu.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one. It's a good beer.
That is a good one.
That's a good beer. But I was drinking that while we were recording our exclusive monthly Patreon podcast called Youth Group is Forever. And Youth Group is Forever is where Brian has subjected me to watching terrible Christian horror films.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a subgenre.
It very much is. And there's a lot of them. There's more, like we're doing 10 episodes of it, but there's more of those movies than 10. So if you're interested, Adam, sign up on our Patreon. $5 a month. Yeah, $5 a month. It'll get you all those. It'll get you our previous series, which is Family is Forever, which is where I made Brian watch all the Fast and the Furious films.
That's awesome.
You get reviews and recos of movies from all genres as I do write-ups. You get on the Discord so you can make unhappy faces at my bad jokes. And you get to do all kinds of other participation. You get all kinds of other things. You get to see when I'm working on a fucking dumb piece of art for merch, and I'll throw up the work in progress and go, hey, look at this. And everybody goes,
do better, Steve. Do better.
That's gross. You're making gross stuff again.
I'll buy 2.
Yeah. But you get all that on the Patreon, and it's a season of giving, and Patreon now allows you to gift subscriptions to people. So get out there, and if you're listening and you have a subscription, give one to a friend. If you don't have a subscription, get one for yourself and then give one to a friend.
That's right. You got to look out for number 1 too.
Yeah. It's okay to give yourself a gift and a friend a gift. That's 2 gift. That's double gift.
That's twice as nice.
Yeah, double gift. Check it out. Patreon.com. Halloween is forever. All right, Adam. We got all that out of the way.
Good.
How do you want to start this? Because I've inflicted this movie on you. Do you want to just know about the movie as much as possible?
So,
do you have questions? I know you have questions.
I have questions, but I don't want to jump into it too fast before we, describe or talk about the movie at large before we get into the particulars.
Sure. Okay. Well, then let's.
So, if you have some overviews, lay it on me.
Yeah, let's just kind of break down what the film is. It's a film from 1989, and we've already mentioned it's called Elves. It's directed by a fellow by the name of Jeffrey Mandel. And Jeffrey Mandel seemingly had a very, very short career from 1988 to 1998. That's the expanse of his credits.
Oof. Did he make anything that anybody would know?
He didn't make anything you would know.
Okay, all right.
So, for our audience, Adam is a very baseline film watcher. You know, he picks up on the cool stuff that comes out. He's seen a lot of films, but he does not dive into the dregs of the VHS.
No, I do not.
Just garbage that come out in the 80s and 90s when independent filmmakers were just slapping shit into VHS boxes and putting it on shelves. Like that was the whole ethos of filmmaking back then for a lot of people, is just like slap it together, get it to 80 minutes, throw it on the shelf. So
somebody will buy it.
Exactly. You'll trick somebody, and you'd name a movie Elves and you make it kind of like a horror movie and people go, oh, spooky elves. And you release it in 1989 after Gremlins came out in 1984. Oh, you're going to catch somebody. Somebody's going to get caught up in the web.
Or, you're going to get a grandma out there. It's like, oh, it's Elves. It's a nice Christmas movie. Pick it up for their grandkid.
Yeah.
And then it turns out the grandkid's going to love it for a completely different reason.
So I think the only other film that I was familiar with, and I've seen a little bit of it, but Jeffrey Mandel also directed a film called Cyber Chic. And it's
okay.
Yeah. And it's CHIC with the kind of as an anagram, because it is basically him doing RoboCop with a hot lady. There was a lot of those films back in the 80s and 90s as well. They just did hot ladies as robots.
So with Cyber Chic, it sounds like they're trying to steal a little bit from like The Net as well.
Well, this movie was way before The Net.
Oh, yeah, because the net came out in what, 93, 94?
Yeah, somewhere between 93 and 95, I think. Yeah, no, this was this was 1990. He was definitely He was like biting. He was definitely trying to bite off like the RoboCop and like other films of that nature, of like when we just resurrected people as robots. Now they're robots and they can fight crime and they're superheroes. And it's like, all right.
Well, now this is a robot with tits. It's great.
Exactly. Yeah. It was an excuse to get a hot blonde in a bunch of leather getup is what it was. But I believe that was featured on Red Letter Media, which is where I had heard about it. So
okay,
yeah, Jeffrey Mandel's catalog is small and bad. It just is. Like there's no other way around it.
But damn it, he did it. He made films.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing is, even though Elves is a bad film for a lot of reasons, it also just like is complete. It's a complete story. It has a lot going on in it. It has action. It has an explosion. So it's not fucking boring. Like
well, you can't really see a whole lot of it because the lighting's kind of terrible.
Yes, you will. I had to turn like the light off in my office while I was watching. just to like adjust my eyes to the darkness of the film, because he had no fucking lights and wanted to shoot outside all the time.
So he got what he wanted, but we got nothing out of it.
Yeah, you can't see dick. Also interesting about the film is it stars Dan Haggerty as Mike McGavin.
Yeah, who is that?
That is Grizzly Adams, my dude.
Oh, that's okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm back in now.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was the best in that film by a country mile.
Yeah.
And he still wasn't great.
He wasn't awesome, but he was basically just giving his Grizzly Adams performance. Like he's just, and it's a cool character. He's playing homeless detective Santa. Like that's funny. That's a funny character, no matter how you look at it. It's just in a bad movie. Like you could write that in a different
was.
movie, and if it's fucking great.
But he did have the best car in the whole movie, big white 2-door Cadillac. It was awesome.
Which I don't know why he didn't just stay in that. Why didn't he just sleep in that all the time?
Listen, that was not the biggest question on my list, but it was certainly one of them.
Everything else I understand. I get all the other, I get the Nazi occultism and stuff. Yeah, I understand that.
That gets a free pass.
Yeah. Why didn't you sleep in your car? Why are you breaking in the walls? It's a giant car, and it had the cigarette lighter in it.
That was well used.
Yeah. But yeah. Dan Haggerty played Grizzly Adams in the TV show. But he was in a bunch of other things. Like he had a very small role in Easy Rider that he went just kind of uncredited for. And he's been in a number of other like just kind of shitty horror movies. He didn't do much of notice, like continued acting all the way into 2019 is his last credit, but he has another movie coming out supposedly called One Man War. So be on the lookout for that.
Okay. All right. I thought he was dead.
Yeah, no, he died. He died in 2016.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So wait, so he still has a movie coming out?
Supposedly.
Interesting.
Yeah. The other interesting bit that kind of falls in line with the theme of this movie is he is in another movie called 40 Nights. And it's about Jesus's 40 nights in the desert, and Dan Haggerty plays God.
He does have the voice for it.
Yeah. So, you know, he's getting all the correct roles. Santa, God.
Big white beard. What else you got?
I don't know that we'll have 40 Nights on Youth Group Is Forever, though. So we'll move on.
I mean, we could put in a special request.
Sure.
We get,
you can ask, but I think Brian has his, he's got his stuff set. He's done.
I'd say if we get 30 new Patreons and, by the end of the year, I think we can do that.
Interesting.
Sounds like a challenge to the audience.
Sure. If we get 30 Patreons before the end of the year, we'll do a special recording of 40 Nights starring Dan Haggerty as God.
Awesome. I hope that happens. I'm pulling for you.
Sure. I hope it happens too, because then they'll be all primed and ready for the next series, which is coming up very shortly as well.
Awesome. Do we want to get into the particulars on this thing now?
Sure. I did want to point out two other people who star in this film, just because they do have a little bit of a kind of genre, not clout, I would say, but they are known genre actors.
Okay.
So the one is the Deanna Lund, who plays the mom in this film. She got her start doing like a lot of the kind of like outer space. She was like an early 60s actor. So
okay. She do a lot of like space vixen stuff.
Yeah, she did a lot of space vixens, and then moves on to doing like she was in the Batman TV show for a minute.
You mean the Adam West version?
Yeah. She was on the Batman Adam West.
Oh.
Yeah. She was on 2 episodes of that, and did a couple more genre films, and then kind of falls off for a little bit, and then comes back and does some more genre films because like people just remember her from doing the space vixens and the older actresses get a lot of like they get roles from just being known from doing stuff in the past, so they can garner roles of like, hey, being the grandma, and then people go, oh, hey, I remember who that is.
This film has some stamina because it's got known people in it. I'm in.
Yeah. And then we have Ken Carpenter, and Ken Carpenter plays the non-alcoholic detective, the mean one.
Yes. Okay.
And Ken Carpenter is genre through and through. He is in films, like his credit list is pretty small. He was in like 14 films, and they're pretty much all genre, but people will recognize him because he was the one Cenobite that had the camera for a head in Hellraiser 3. So that's probably his most known role. But then he's also in Phantom of the Paradise and The Other Side of Midnight and Tammy and the T-Rex, which that is a fucking dog of a movie.
Tammy and the T-Rex?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I need a quick synopsis on that one.
Oh.
What the hell is that one about?
Oh, yeah. Tammy and the T-Rex rules because it is trash. Well, it's good we talk about this because it'll make Brian mad if he's listening to this episode because Tammy and the T-Rex stars Paul Walker. So this goes...
Oh, yes, okay.
It goes hand in hand with the trauma of the show of Brian hating Paul Walker. And I also hate him too, but Tammy and the T-Rex is about Paul Walker getting killed and then his brain gets put into a T-Rex. And Tammy is played by Denise Richards.
Are you serious?
Yes, absolutely serious.
That's awesome. All right. I have to find this movie.
It's out there. Yeah. Yeah. It's
all right.
It is fucking terrible. Sorry to go on this tangent, but like there was a strange number of dinosaur films in the 90s, mostly because of Jurassic Park, obviously. But
right.
Yeah, you had Tammy and the T-Rex, and then you had another movie called Theodore Rex. I don't know if you...
I'm not familiar with that one.
Now, Theodore Rex comes out in 1995 and is about a dinosaur who gets like sent back in time, but also across dimensions. And so he's like is a cop in a different world. And then teams up with Whoopi Goldberg, who's also a cop. Dude, I can't even remember it properly. But it is a fucking wow. Yeah, it is a fucking nightmare of a movie. It's fucking terrible. So yeah.
That sounds like the kind of thing that you would see on TBS at 3 a.m. in like 1998.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. I think that's where I originally saw the movie, was like either TBS or TNT. And I was like, this movie's not very good, but it's on TV, so I don't turn TV off.
Right, so it's gonna keep going.
Yeah. But yeah, it has Whoopi Goldberg in it, and it has Richard Roundtree, aka Shaft.
Nice.
Yeah. So Theodore Rex.
Everybody's got to work, man.
Yeah. Theodore Rex and Tammy and the T-Rex. Go check those out if you're just looking to cook your brain with dumbass 90s movies. But we're talking right on the cusp of 90. We're talking 1989's Elves. And this movie is fucking shit. But it's shit interestingly. So
yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. So I already mentioned how like there's stuff happening pretty much always in the film. There's always stuff happening. The thing that is bad is the stuff that's happening is cruel and evil. And there's almost never anything fun happening in the movie.
No. And the other thing is I didn't really care that it was cruel and evil because I didn't really like anybody in the movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. You have no characters to root for because eventually everyone gets revealed as a piece of shit, with the exception of Dan Haggerty and the girl playing Kirsten. Neither of them are particularly endearing, but they're just not evil. Everybody else is evil.
Yeah. And like you were saying with the store Santa, he already had his troubled past. So he was already evil beforehand. So he only gets half credit.
Yeah, exactly.
Granted, he's on a bit of a redemption arc, but he's still kind of a shitbag.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's a good anti-hero because he's a detective.
Yes.
He's a detective, but he's a drunk, and he gets evicted in the middle of this film. So he's a homeless drunk, and now he has to go be Santa Claus for money. Like, that's an interesting character. That's basically Billy Bob Thornton in Bad Santa minus the detective angle. So
right. And he was the only one that I wasn't even rooting for him. I just like, okay, I guess he's the guy that I have to root for.
Yeah, no, he's not the guy you root for. He's the guy you follow. You're just like, all right, what are you up to now, dude?
He is my lifeboat.
Yeah. He's the only one you really get, like, you can attach yourself to because you follow him the most. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But we start the film with these 3 girls out in the woods, and they call themselves the Sisters of Anti-Christmas. And that goes kind of hard. And they're doing a fucking seance type black magic ritual out in the woods. And they're like, yeah, fuck Christmas. Christmas has become too commercial. And we're going to do some goddamn feminism out in the woods now and cut ourselves.
It was a very Gen X teenager reaction to Christmas.
Yeah, very much. In this little blood ritual they do, though, the one girl, Kirsten, cuts her hand. And just the mere act of her blood touching the ground summon force a little guy. And it fucking looks bad, but it's still a little guy.
Yeah.
It looks pretty gross. It's just like we don't see it fully till like much later on, but it just is unpleasant because it has that look of a nude cat, like a Sphinx cat.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah. It's like there's nothing, like when you look at the gremlins, they have like the lizard skin and they have some bits of hair and they have like the red eyes. So like they have an interesting character design. Mm-hmm. When you look at this, it's just like a gross little homunculus that is just like, skin's all gross and grody and like, but it's still pink and fleshy and it's like, ugh.
But to be fair, I mean, if that's what they were going for, they absolutely nailed it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm sure that's like what they were aiming for. It's just, and again, with a lot of things in this film, you're not supposed to aim for those things.
Right. Absolutely.
It turns audiences off when you aim for those things. You can do them, but you shouldn't do them.
Right. So this is something that has always bothered me with blood rituals.
Sure.
Why do you always cut the palm of your hand? Why don't you just cut somewhere else? Because aren't you supposed to mix the blood and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Why does it have to be the palm of the hand?
I'm sure there is an explanation for that, but I don't know it. I just always assume it's because it's somewhat quick to heal, and it's also... But I mean, I don't know. It's always like a noticeable thing. And it's always, there's a new TV show out called Hysteria. And it's all about the 1980s satanic panic. And at one point in the show, the lead kid just like cuts a pentagram into his hand. And then it becomes like a running thing throughout the show because now he has this awful wound in his hand.
Oh, okay.
So like they actually played into like the logic of it, of like, why would you do that?
Right.
So
yeah, because it just, the only thing I can think of is if it's supposed to be like through a handshake, but if you're in a coven, I don't think they're shaking hands.
Right. No.
You know, it's not a business meeting.
No. So, perhaps it's also just easy for like, I think you see it used as like a way to paint something with the blood on your hand as well.
Right.
So like it's about getting like a wide swath of blood out. And I'm sure you can find biblical reference to like cutting the hand, or you can also find like in Aleister Crowley's, writings, like this is the way you do it. And then just somebody reads that and then it just becomes the trope. Like
it's just the thing you do.
Yeah. The one black magician we know about that was really popular said, do it this way. And so we just continue to do it this way. And nobody
told us not to.
Yeah. We don't even know why we do it. We just did it because that guy said do it.
But it's just one of those things that's just always bothered me. And I didn't know if there was a particular reason or it's just, it just looks good.
Yeah. I think it's mostly, it looks good but it's like non-life threatening. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd say, but so are, finger pricks when you're diabetic, just one of those.
But those heal up too quick.
ET it.
Those heal up too quick. Those Like same with like cutting your tongue and biting your tongue. Heals too quick. Can't do that. But yeah, so it's also funny because like this ritual, it doesn't even seem like they actually do anything or complete the ritual because it's Kristen accidentally cutting her hand, and then they run off at the sight of blood. Like they all get freaked out and they go, oh no. And then like they don't even necessarily do a ritual. It's just literally her blood touching the ground calls forth this occult being.
Which, but as I understand it, they did it in a particular spot.
Yeah.
Like apparently the grandpa called out never to go there, but then they went there.
Yeah. This was pretty unclear. And it's just one of those like movie happenstance things. Like the grandpa, as we learned, has like been setting all of this up to come to fruition, and built his land on this ground, or like built his house on this ground. And so like the ground is, been sacred, and it's the reverse psychology of don't go out there because it's mystical. You'll get in trouble. Mm-hmm. Don't do it. So he's probably been like feeding her since a kid and just like, hey, stay away from there. Uh-oh. There's spooky ghosts.
Until you're 18.
Yeah, don't go out there.
Yeah, you're right. It was very unclear. It just, and then, of course, the first time you ever meet him, we're just going to go ahead and get some good old-fashioned domestic abuse in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, the very first time we meet Grandpa, he gives her a slap. And he's an old shit in a wheelchair. And just, she comes in, he gives her a slap. And then we also get introduced to the mom, who is also probably the second. She might be the worst person to ever exist.
I thought she was horrid,
which is saying a lot. It's okay. So she's the worst person up until you learn Grandpa, like Grandpa's full backstory actually kind of sheds a lot of light as to why she is a piece of shit. But until then, she's the worst person you've ever met.
Yeah. From the onset, she started bad.
Yeah.
At least with Grandpa, you could kind of see, okay, he might know something. He has a good reason to, slap her around. I'm not advocating that.
No.
But in his mind, he might have a good reason. She was just, the mom was just a shitbag.
Yeah, just out of the box. She fucking tells Kirsten, I'm going to take all of your savings. And that's it. I'm just taking it. Like, I'm just going to commit larceny from your bank account.
Yeah. Just your money's gone. It's gone. Yeah. I'm going to give it to your little brother.
Yeah. Which we find out in the next scene is like Kirsten storms off. We get a shower scene, very classic for the 80s. And as she's coming out of the shower, her pervert little brother is spying on her. And this kid like kind of rules. Like he's only in a few scenes, but he kind of rules for being a fucking little shit.
Right.
They give him kind of some of the best lines too, because he's standing there peering in on his sister, and she's like, "Get out of here, you little pervert!" And he runs away, and he's like, "I'm gonna tell everybody you got big fucking tits."
And I looked at him.
Yeah, I saw him, and then goes on to say, "Fuck you, mom's giving me all your money. Fuck you." Just like punctuates it.
To me, that was a top 3 scene. It's just because it was so ridiculous.
Yeah,
and it was just an excuse to have a little TNA.
Right. It's a little bit of TNA, but it's also more of an excuse to have a kid swear, and kids swearing is funny. But like, he's really leaning into it. Like he's like, "I'm gonna tell everybody you got fucking big fucking tits, and I fucking saw them." It's like, that's a lot.
Yeah. I hope that the kid recognized what he was doing, like the actor, and he's like, "I got one chance to be like this."
Yeah, exactly.
I have to take full.
Yo, for sure. Yeah. He's on set and he's allowed to swear. And like he was given a green light. He was given the golden ticket to say as many F words as he could, and he took it. So good on him.
Yeah, he did that one, like that scene, like a champion.
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure I had that Ninja Turtle shirt that he's wearing in that scene.
I was kind of surprised that a Ninja Turtle shirt was able to be used.
Oh, I'm sure it's not.
I didn't know if that they just did it anyways. Yeah. That's what the kid showed up in that day.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie takes some definite liberties with like references and things they do. The the infamous dinner scene, the one kid asks, "Is that roast beast?" A reference to the Grinch. I don't know if you can make that reference, but maybe.
Well, they did it anyways.
Yeah, they did it anyway, so whatever. We get a couple scenes of elf vision as the elf stalks around in the woods and outside the house. Can't fucking see shit. Like,
no, it was useless.
Yeah.
It almost seemed like one of the cameramen or somebody had this really good idea of how to do it, but it didn't work out, and they just said, we'll use it anyways.
Sure. Well, I mean, at this point, like, this use of the POV for the monster's POV, that's been in use for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this movie came out in 89 and Predator was 87. That's probably like the most, not maybe the most famous, but it's one of the most memorable ones because like everybody knows that thermographic fucking, Predator vision. Everybody knows that. But it was used in a bunch of other films as well.
Mm-hmm. But like for this, it just seemed so muddied and wavy and just, visually it was just horrible.
Yeah. And again, that's also, there's a lot of like visual stuff that is destroyed by the fact that this film only exists as VHS. So the VHS video had to be ripped and digitized and then uploaded. And then once it's uploaded, YouTube compresses it again. So it gets compressed multiple times before we watch it. And it's just abysmal. And it wasn't even filmed correctly to begin with. So that's why that's why this movie is impossible to see at some points. Yeah.
But damn it, we got through it.
Yeah. we made it. After we leave the house, we do get introduced to our Dan Haggerty protagonist, and he's coming in off the streets into the mall, and he's looking for work. And nobody's hiring. Just, not taking vagrants on Christmas, man.
Nope. He's out on his luck. He needs a hand. He gets nothing.
Yeah. Like, there's a good chance he stinks. We don't know. But it's possible that he stinks. And he went up to one of those classic snooty, store managers. Back when department stores were a little more high class. Before they fell into the, just Walmarts of the world where,
right.
And any given day at Walmart, you and the person serving you both stink.
And neither of you care.
Yeah, nobody cares. Yeah, I stink. It's Walmart. Who gives a shit? I'm not dressing up for this.
You're lucky I have pants on.
Yeah, I'm not dressing up to buy 20 pounds of rice at $3.
Oh shit. Yeah, there was some good classic 80s tropes, and that was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Was the snooty store manager.
Yeah.
But I did find it interesting because they said it was around Christmas time, but they didn't say how long he was in the store before Christmas Eve happened. So they didn't really establish when that scene happened. It could have been the day before. So it could have been like December 23rd.
Right.
And he's asking for a Christmas job.
Yeah. That's the thing is this is his introductory scene. We don't see what spurned him to go out looking for work right now, other than the fact that he just generally probably always needs work. Like, yeah. Like he's when we see later on that he gets kicked out of his airliner, it's like, okay, he's a bum of the highest degree, but to say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get in there now and get that Santa job when they already have a Santa. Like it's
what I particularly enjoyed was he just kept showing up anyways.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just show.
He just hung out at the snack shack.
Maybe that's the thing we don't see in the from the earlier scenes is like literally every day he goes to every business along Main Street and just like begs for work every day. That might just be part of his process.
Right.
Yeah.
Which to me, I think that would have added a lot if they showed a little bit of that.
Right.
If that was the case.
Yeah.
Just show him, or say something like, no, Mike, this is the 8th time, you've asked this week. We still don't have anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a little something to show that he's there again and again and again. I think that would have helped a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Still no work, Mike. Keep it moving. Gotta go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thankfully for Mike, though, he gets some work pretty quick because the Santa that they do have, not only does he molest Kristen and ask for oral, but also he loves to take a little tutor on the snooter. A little bit of the booger sugar in the back rooms of the mall.
He just really likes the smell.
Yeah. This is a scene that's very funny because like after, he tries to, put his hand up Kirsten's skirt. Yeah. He goes back into the back room and he's just like, that's how cheap Coke was back in the day, I guess. That a mall Santa could afford it. A mall Santa could chop up 3 lines for himself.
So here's the thing that I found interesting about that is he was chopping it up with a gold card.
Yeah.
So what the hell is he doing as a mall Santa?
Being a pervert.
Well, okay, yeah. But I mean, they weren't handing out gold cards to anybody in the 80s.
Yeah. Is he perhaps making a commission? Because when we see him with the kids, he is like encouraging them to go downstairs to where the toys and the Nintendos are. So like maybe he's getting a commission on every Nintendo sold.
They're on discount only today. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe that's how he's affording his habit. I do also like though, it's just a funny setup that like he's cutting lines and then he puts his dumb Santa beard in the Coke and then knocks it everywhere. It's just such a...
Is this your first day as a Coke addict?
Yeah. It's just a silly bit of business. And then he gets his dick stabbed by the troll. Or elf.
So, all right. I am not a cocaine connoisseur, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But it seemed to me like there was some pretty fat rails that he was doing too.
I mean, yeah, it looks pretty hefty that he's going, like, I don't know, maybe his stuff is really stepped on and he knows it and he knows he has to like go bigger. But yeah, like I'm saying, he looks pretty indulgent in this scene.
Yeah. He was not holding back.
Yeah.
And then he gets stabbed in the dick.
Right. And then he gets stabbed in the dick and he killed by the elf. And we kind of learn why that is later on in the film. At the same time, this is all going on in the mall. We're cutting back to the house. And the mom is doing something so evil that
it was so bad.
Like, and this is what I was talking about by you can't show some things. Like there's some things you shouldn't do because it will ruin your movie. And what we see is that the mom who hates her daughter, hates her son, hates her grandfather, basically hates everybody. And by association, hates her daughter's cat. She scoops it up in a pillowcase. And then we get a long protracted scene of her taking the pillowcase into the bathroom and dunking it in the toilet until the cat is dead. And
that was pure evil.
Yeah, that's killing animals is like a huge no-no in general. Like killing animals and killing kids. And then if you do those things, usually you do them off screen.
Right.
Like Old Yeller. There was a whole story reason why you kill Old Yeller. And even then you don't show it. It happens off screen.
Right.
And you're left to, imply and Old Yeller's dead. When you do it on screen for your PG-13 Christmas movie that looks like a Gremlins ripoff and it happens in the first 15 minutes, you are like alienating audiences over and over and over. Like,
yeah, I would not be surprised if there are all sorts of copy of this movies out there in America that have not made it past that scene.
Yeah.
Just everybody sat down, got to that, like, nope, we're done. Put it in the back of the shelf, never to be seen again.
Yeah, never to be thought about again. Like, yeah, people were looking. That's the other thing. It's weird because this movie is rated PG-13,
which I am very surprised to find that out.
Yeah, this is still in that kind of era where like PG-13 wasn't completely well defined. Like we kind of know it now as like, that's the rating where you can say fuck one time in the movie.
Yep.
And we know all these kind of like unspoken rules about it.
Yeah, the little brother blew right past that at minute 8.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he blew past that. Rampant drug use, violence, fucking animal torture and murder. So you're looking at a PG-13 Gremlins ripoff, and then they kill a cat. And you go, that's fucking crazy. There's no way this movie can get more mean or crazy though. So if you make it past that, you just hope for the best.
Right.
You go.
I feel that we need to step this back a little bit because of the reason that the cat got killed. Because the little brother got attacked by a troll.
Right. Yeah. So at night, the trolls are doing a little, elves. They're doing, they're doing some nonsense outside, and the elf attacks the brother and scratches him, because again, he was peering in on Kirsten, so he has to be punished. The elf thinks it's protecting Kirsten. That's the whole elf kind of motivation, is protect her. And so, the elf scratches him, and then of course nobody believes kids in horror movies.
Right.
And when Kirsten says she saw, a little troll guy, and he says he saw a little troll ninja, and he got scratched by that, the mom, a complete psycho, says, no, it was the cat. And then I'm going to kill that cat.
Yeah. What I particularly enjoyed about that was the mom looks at the little brother, sees that there's scratches on him, and does literally nothing about it. Like, doesn't even grab peroxide, a Band-Aid, nothing. Just,
oh, yeah.
Yep. You got scratched, and then moved it along.
Oh, yeah. Like, she's leaving the room, and he's calling out to her, and she just pays zero attention. Yeah. So, like, she doesn't have a care about, like, her children being hurt or anything like that. She just wants to find a reason to also make them feel bad in other ways. Like... Right. She's just upset about that. She's just a ball of hate. That's all she is. It's just a ball of hate. Yeah, she is probably just one of the most evil people. We do get to see, though, in another scene where the elf digs up the cat and taunts Kirsten from... This is the one that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If he's meant to protect her, why is he taunting her with her dead cat? Yeah, that doesn't make much sense, does it? Yeah. I can't defend it. I can't understand it. No, it's just it's a silly scene, and it's a scene that they just throw in there, probably just to get a scare. I don't know, just to keep things moving and to add some action into the film, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We then the mom and the grandpa are having a discussion about Kirsten seeing, the cat outside the window. And the mom's like so fucking pissed off that she's not getting the credit. like that's how evil she is like, she's like Ted Bundy, and that she's demanding that she gets her credit for killing the cat. Nothing. It wasn't a raccoon. It was me. I did it. She had such venom in it too. I was impressed with the delivery of that. Just how evil it was. Yeah, Deanna Lund isn't like a terrible actress. She just did like a lot of genre films, but like she like whatever this was, that they got into her head and just said, you're going to be the most evil person. They probably told her like, you're the villain of this film. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah. And she ran with it. I'll give her that. Yeah, she definitely runs with it. We get Grandpa playing with his stupid gems and his stones.
Which at the time made no sense.
Yeah. Dan Haggerty's enjoying his new job as Santa, getting pissed on.
Talking to the chalk outline of the guy that got murdered.
Which that's such a funny, cool piece of business for like an actor to do. That like he's again drunk homeless bum detective, and he's just like talking to the outline, which is like, "I'll see you around, Eddie." And it's just like that's such a hard boiled detective thing.
It is.
He's like, "See you around, Eddie." And he, of course, also Dan Haggerty is smoking throughout this entire film in
absolutely
every venue that you're not supposed to smoke in anymore. He's smoking in the library, smoking at the lunch counter, just smoking everywhere. Fucking rules. Great. Ripping butts. We get our first kind of hints that there may be some Nazism abound.
Yes.
Because Grandpa is visited by 3 thugs with German accents, and it's very curious about the nature of their visit, and it seems that things are revolving around Kirsten, and we get a Luger produced by Grandpa.
Yes.
It's a very specific gun to come out in a confrontation.
I was impressed that came out, that they were able to, I mean, obviously you can procure one, but I was impressed that they had the wherewithal to go get one.
Yeah. Yeah, that is good production design, that your old grandpa would be carrying his service, service gun.
He didn't pick it up off the enemy. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. We also get a reference in this scene where they're talking about the elves, and the one main Nazi makes a reference to Dawn of the Dead when he says there's no more room in hell. The elves will walk the earth. That's a line stolen from the original Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah. Which the line doesn't make a whole lot of sense here.
No.
Because, in the context of the original 78 Dawn of the Dead, it's the surviving members in the mall, and they're overlooking just like the zombies in the mall, and just like how everything is desolate, and it's occurring to them. Like, they have no idea what is happening to the world other than that the dead are rising. That's all they know. And so it's Ken Foree's character who, just like produces he's like, my grandma used to say, when there's no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth. So like, it's just a very cryptic, and like, it's the only way to explain the world at that time. It's just like hell must be full. In this movie, it doesn't make any fucking sense. They just steal it because it's a hard line. Yeah, it's a hard line. Yeah, that line goes fucking hard.
I'm wondering if if all the producers, everybody had like one movie that they wanted to have a reference or an homage to. Because
maybe, like, I can't speak to the competency of like the directors and writers on this film, because I don't think any of them had like long careers or storied careers.
Right.
I think like I was saying at the beginning of this episode, this is a lot of slapping stuff together to get it on shelves.
That they did.
Yeah. Like this film didn't even really have like a wide release. It just kind of had like a standard limited release, and then quickly into video cases.
So it did have a theatrical release?
Yeah, like a limited one. Like,
okay,
I don't know how many screens that actually translates to, because it could literally have just been like 5 around the LA area.
Right. But it's still technically a theatrical release.
Right. Yeah. And it's just one of those things that you do that for various reasons. Like a lot of films that do it today do, at least pre-Netflix, a lot of films did limited releases just so they could be eligible for Oscars.
Right.
Yeah. Now, I don't think anybody understands. Nobody thought this was going to be eligible for an Oscar or anything like that.
No, Lord, I hope not.
Yeah. But, you know, I am sure maybe there's like some other tax thing that's out there. Like if you played on, you know, a screen, then you get a tax rebate for that. There's a whole bunch of things I don't know about that would put a reason for you to put it up on the big screen.
Right. And maybe there's some people that just say, hey, I've got a movie on the big screen. And that's the end goal.
Yeah, there's for sure people who do that. That was the whole ethos behind The Room. What's his name? Tommy Wiseau.
Right.
It's in the book, Disaster Artist, but like a lot of his motivation was just to get a movie up on the big screen, just to see it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
just to say that it's there.
Yeah, just to say it's there. But yeah, pretty much all the writers and producers on this film, like they all kind of have the same credits. They're all fucking under 3 stars on IMDb. They're all bad. So I think it's just like some dudes with money who thought they were going to do it, and then they sort of did it, but they didn't really do it.
Right. They did it in the technical sense.
Yeah. Moving forward, we have this little rendezvous that is between the Sisters of Anti-Christmas, and they are going to hide out in the mall and invite their boyfriends over, and they're going to fuck in the mall. Which, hey, that's a good setup for, a slasher film that, you bring a group together somewhere, a group like they're not supposed to be there, and it's compromised because the power's out. So yeah, right. People aren't going to be looking for them. And then you let a little guy loose and he fucking kills some people. Not really what happens here.
No, not at all. Not in the least.
Yeah.
No.
The boyfriends get fucking discouraged and leave.
But the thing is, I don't even think they were boyfriends, because on the way in, they're arguing on who's going to be with who. And all I'm thinking is, fellas, shouldn't you have talked about this beforehand?
Yeah. You waited to this point.
Yeah. You got to set some targets here before.
Yeah. But no, we hear, the one guy's complaining. He's like, I don't want to bang Kristen. She's weird. He's like, I want to bang Brooke. And the guy's like, no, Brooke's mine.
No, mine.
Mine.
You idiots. Got to get your shit together on this one.
Yeah.
And then they didn't even bother.
No, then they didn't even bother. They got discouraged. But while they're arguing about who gets to bang who, we get this other uncomfortable scene between Kirsten and Brooke about consent. And yeah, it's like super unpleasant, in which like Brooke is asking, like, Kirsten has no intention of sleeping with anybody. And she made it clear by like setting up, like they all set up tents within the middle of the department store floor, so all the couples could retire and fuck in the tents in the middle of the store. That sounds like fun.
Right.
But Kirsten set up a half tent because she's just going to sleep by herself. She doesn't want to fuck anybody.
This is for me and just me.
Just me. No one here. So Brooke takes her aside and is like, so you're not going to do it with anybody? She's like, no, I'm not going to do it with anybody. She goes, well, how do you go about not doing it with them? And she goes, you just say no. Brooke, you say no. No means
Which
no.
I thought was going to be the end of the conversation. Like, okay, good. That's, set some boundaries. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
And Brooke replies that, well, I think it's just easier to let him do it. I don't want the confrontation. And it's just like, Brooke, no. Brooke, it's not just Brooke, no. It's movie, no. Movie, that's
everybody
bad.
No.
Yeah, don't send that message out. That's bad messaging.
Yeah. And honestly, that kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies more than anything else.
Right, as it should. Because there's no... It unfortunately ties into the end of the film. And
right.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to what the big end reveal is. But yeah, this scene is unfortunately tied to the end of the film, and the director is very aware of it.
Right. It couldn't have been an accident.
Yeah, it wasn't, and it's Yeah, it makes it gross, and it makes that director even more gross to me because I know he knows.
Right.
It's like, I know he knows. And it's like, that's fucking gross. That's wrong.
But he did it anyways.
He did it anyway. But also in the scene is Amy, who is the other member of this anti-Christmas, and she is too horned up for her own good. She is just running around in lingerie that she's stolen from the racks. And once they think the boyfriends are coming to break into the mall, it's actually the Nazis, but they think it's the boyfriends trying to break into the mall. And then they break into the mall and the alarm goes off.
Not for very long, though.
But long enough for Amy to just still be too horned up to know any better. Of like, oh, hell yeah, the cops are on the way. I'm going to get that dick.
She is goal-oriented.
Yeah, she's so goal-oriented, she just runs off into the dark. Only to be captured by Nazis and shot in the fucking head.
So stupid.
It's so stupid. It's so bad. And, like you think, oh, the elf, we've seen the elf do some bad stuff to this point. He's stabbed some people. He's killed some people. And you think, okay, the elf is the big, like threat in this film. No, also you can get shot in the head by Nazis. That's another thing that can happen to you. You can also, Lord knows what the mom might do to you, but like, don't be in a compromised position.
Yeah. And the Nazis just decide we're going to have us a good old fashioned shoot 'em up in the middle of the department store. Yeah,
exactly.
Just. Did they ever announce that they were there, that they were going to do anything, that they, or they just come in firing?
They showed up to get Kirsten, and because Detective Santa's there, they just start shooting. They just start blasting.
That's right.
I saw Detective Santa and I just started blasting.
I don't remember any dialogue from them of trying to explain why they're there at all.
No. Well, you're partially not supposed to know why they're there, but at the same time, like, I don't know, give us some sort of reason. Like, we could have done an inference that they were there to get Kirsten. You're kind of supposed to pick it up from the scene where they're with Grandpa, because they've showed up to the house to, threaten Grandpa. And he's like, no, you can't have her. I love her.
Yeah. Which, did they ever explain the direct connection? Obviously, they're all Nazis. But did they ever explain, like, they all work together or anything like that? Or they were all part of a local chapter or whatever it is that the Nazis have? Or they were just Nazis, so they all know each other?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things you just kind of assume all Nazis know each other.
It's
a little insular group. They're not, they don't exactly take in a lot of new members, so.
That is true. Yeah. They see each other at the yearly picnic.
Yeah. So my assumption was, like, the leader of that band of thugs knew the Grandpa from the war. And it doesn't read that well because it's hard to tell how old Grandpa really is, and it's hard to tell how old this evil leader is. But, you assume the two of them, and like Grandpa was a scientist during the war, and maybe this guy was a member of the SS, and now they've both moved to America and are hiding their identities. But Grandpa is not an active Nazi, we assume at first. And then this other guy is obviously an active Nazi because he's also got new recruits.
Yeah.
He's got ponytails. He's got guys in ponytails, which also, I'm thinking actually all those guys came from Germany. Like, they're kind of like Hans Gruber fucking henchmen, because they got the fucking ponytails.
Yeah, that you could tell that there was a direct connection between them and Die Hard and late 80s Germans.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's who the enemy still was around that time. Either communists or leftover Nazis. That's who you can represent in films in the 80s and 90s as the bad guys. So yeah, that's why Die Hard works too, because you first get a taste of Hans Gruber and you think he's a terrorist, but then no, he's a bank robber. He just happens to have an accent. And he's taking advantage of that.
Right.
That's why it's a great little turn.
Actually, watched that the other day.
Yeah, Die Hard rules.
Yeah, I was able to watch that the other day because that's the only time it's on anymore is Christmas. It pisses me off.
Laziness. Because they don't do the same thing for Die Hard 3. And Die Hard 3 is, just as good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I've seen Die Hard any time of the year. But the only time I've seen the original Die Hard 3 any time of the year. The original Die Hard, I only see it at Christmas time because that's now the thing.
Yeah.
No, It's a great film all the year round. It's
always good. Die Hard's always good. Yes. Die Hard 3's always good. And those are the movies. It's a really weird series that it went from 1 to 3.
I like Die Hard too.
It's not terrible, but I don't know. I don't love it.
Compared to the other ones? Agreed.
Oh yeah. Compared to, yeah. I mean, but it also Die Hard 2 compared to 4 and 5.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. I like the snowmobile scene.
Yeah. No, I'm saying Die Hard 2 is good in comparison to 4 and 5.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even see 5. I couldn't commit myself to.
Was 5 the one with Justin Long?
No, that's 4.
That's 4. Okay.
Yeah. 4 has some good bits because it has Justin Long. It has Timothy Olyphant in it. It has like Maggie Q as like a bad girl fucking kicker. So like it has its moments, but it still is also just kind of like strenuous at that point of like how much are we willing to believe and how many times can John McClane get himself into just some bullshit.
Right. Like, can we just be done with this? We're good. We got our 2.5 good movies.
Mm-hmm. Back to Elves though.
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, they do this shootout. Fucking Kirsten runs away with Detective Santa, and they're basically on the lam from the Nazis. Detective Santa has to drop her off at home, and so he takes himself into detective mode and does the classic investigation scenes. This rules because it's such a trope, but just like the way Dan Haggerty conducts himself in these spaces is great because it's just, he's so fed up. He's so like not interested in dealing with people. When he takes her home, he confronts her grandpa and it's just like, I've seen this symbol. What's that symbol about? He's like, I'm not going to tell you. And he's like, tell me what it is.
Oh, okay. He really means it. Okay, I will.
Yeah. The whole time Grandpa is like so far leaned back in his wheelchair. It looks like he's about to slip out of the chair onto the floor like an asshole. But once, Grandpa presents himself as a dead end, Haggerty takes himself to the colleges and to the libraries. And he's just like, tell me what this is.
And you alluded to this earlier. What I loved the best about that is he walks into the library and some student, why is there a student there on Christmas Eve in the first place?
This is actually supposed to be a professor. It's supposed to be a professor, but this guy reads as like 18 or 19. Like, I think he's an adult man.
No, the girl that he ran into down in the rotunda. He sprays all of her books everywhere.
You're back at the library. Okay, I was up at college. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
there's
also, all right, go. Oh,
yeah,
you're right.
We can talk a little bit about the library because he goes to the library after he finds like this book with symbols in it, except the one that he needs. Yeah, he goes to the library and like just is smoking at the front desk and like having a confrontation with this librarian.
One of the best parts was when he's at the library and he's talking to the librarian and they're talking the Dewey Decimal System.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells, he says, hey, I need to find, books on the occult. Well, those are in section 666. He's like, that's really on the nose. But they had the wherewithal to call it out. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, all right, that was a nice little.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
I'm almost willing to give that to Haggerty as an improv. That he's just like annoyed that he was annoyed with how dumb the script is.
Yeah, this is so on the nose.
Right.
It can't be real.
Right. Because he's standing again, smoking in the library. Fucking cool. And then this lady tells him this dumbass bullshit of like, occult books are in section 666. He's like, you got to be fucking with me. I'm going to go.
We're having some more camels.
Yeah. Rip some butts in this section over here. But yeah, in finding that book, he finds that it's missing the one page that he needs. And so he references the book and takes it to the college and finds, just this young TA professor at Christmas Eve, just fiddling with his books and smoking a pipe, which is like,
right. And that's what silly. I was going to refer to earlier is the girl that he ran into yells at him, there's no smoking in here. Not 4 seconds later, dude ripping on a pipe.
Right. Yeah.
I absolutely love that. Like, there's no rules here. Nobody cares.
Oh, fuck. Back to the damn, we're jumping back and forth a lot, but like I keep forgetting how much Dan Haggerty is just ruling a lot of these scenes. But when he's in the library reading through the book, he's kind of like, he's talking to himself. And he's talking to himself out loud. And there's a woman behind him. And she gives him the shush. And he basically just whips around and shushes her back. It's so funny. He's like, no, you shush. You shut up. I'm doing a movie right now.
I love that. And then end of scene. That's it.
End of scene.
Shush.
That's the end of the scene. You shush. You don't shush me, you shush.
I love that. That was fantastic. I'm glad you went back for that part.
Yeah.
That needed to be discussed.
Yeah, just Haggerty has no fucking time for anybody in this movie, and it fucking rules. He's so annoyed. Like, he's annoyed when he's trying to hide in the mall and there's girls giggling. He's pissed about that. He's pissed people trying to stop him from smoking. He's pissed when people try to stop him from doing anything. And just like anybody who's an obstacle gets yelled at and just like, just super terse. I love it.
He was the best part of this whole movie.
Yeah.
Bar none.
You can read the performance as somebody who's just trying to get through the movie as fast as possible. Like if you've ever played like kind of like an adventure game that you know how to beat, you play it kind of as fast as possible. You skip a lot of dialogue and shit like that. Yep. That feels like what Dan's...
No side quests.
Yeah. It feels like what Dan's doing. He's just doing a speed run of the film of just like, all right, I got to go talk to this fucking guy now. What does this mean? Quick, tell me.
It's almost like he told the director, you know what? You got one take. That's it.
Yeah.
Use it or lose it.
I would not be surprised if there is a lot of one take from Dan Haggerty in this movie. I'm not putting my smokes down. If there's a continuity error because of it, that's your fault.
That's on you.
Yeah. But yeah, he's talking to this young TA professor and he's like, do you know what this means? And he's like, no, I don't know what this means, but I do know that God created the elves.
Just off the top of his head.
Yeah.
Just common knowledge.
Yeah, just common knowledge. Heretofore, nobody else has seemed to reveal this, but apparently, the correct Bible interpretation of the creatures on the ground is elves. Just elves.
It's elves.
It's elves.
Which I appreciate that they used 4 words, creatures on the ground, to describe one-worded animals, elves.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you just say elves?
Just say elves.
To me, that was a huge stretch to kind of make things work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we got to get a biblical reference in here. That'll do.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving on. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to find the best thing that they could to link the like Nazis in the occult is like a kind of like well-trod knowledge. Like the fucking Wolfenstein games were about like the Nazis collecting the spear of destiny that pierced Jesus's side. Like that was one of the Wolfenstein games. So like it's not uncommon knowledge that the Nazis fucked around and like were out there stealing occult artifacts and like trying to do fucking black magic to win the war. It was just a weird thing they did. They were fucking, bozos. they have literal shit for brains. But this whole movie is trying to make these loose, tenuous connections of like Santa is elves. They weren't really elves. They're these little creatures that God created. But then the Nazis found out about them, and then the Nazis tried to control them. And it's like, oh my God, what the fuck?
Okay, sure. Fine.
Yeah. And like they, it doesn't say it directly, but the film goes pretty far into just suggesting that the Nazis started as an elf movement.
They did.
Because that's the whole crux behind this symbol that Haggerty keeps seeing in places. And the symbol he's investigating is he takes it to Grandpa, and Grandpa tells him straight up, like, hey, the swastika wasn't our original symbol. This was. Dun-dun.
Oh.
It's like the elf symbol?
Yeah. Really?
You guys were like an elf party to begin with? It's okay. All that other stuff you did for elf?
You guys took a weird turn on that one.
Yeah. But yeah, once he has the lore of the elves explained to him, he is told further that the TA doesn't know how they relate to Nazis. So he's got to go find the original writer of the book. And this is where we get the infamous scene at dinner time. Dan Haggerty drives his big fucking Cadillac over to this guy's house, knocks on the door, and has, the door is answered by a Hispanic
housekeeper, maid. There you go.
I couldn't come up with the word maid. Yeah, answered by a Hispanic maid, and she was like, "Oh yeah, doing the classic." Oh yeah, Mr. O'Rourke or whatever his name is. He's over here, Mr. O'Rourke.
Very Consuela.
Yeah, just stereotypical. The professor Haggerty's looking for is in the dining room with his two kids and his wife. Tables set. It's like the most Christmassy scene you've ever seen. The professor himself is wearing a red Christmas vest with a red bow tie. Like
in his own house.
There's something like kind of weird about it, but it's like, yeah, it's very snooty. And Haggerty comes in like a bum off the streets with his fucking like his Rambo combat jacket and just like knit sweater. Like he looks like a kicked in bag. It's fucking great. And he comes in yelling. He comes in at an 11.
He demands answers.
And
I need to know right now.
I need to know right now. It's a matter of life and death. and the professor is trying to yell at his maid, and she's not understanding, even though he's speaking Spanish at her. She's not getting it.
By the time she figures it out, I'm going to be gone.
Right. Yeah. That's how quick he's running on this. Haggerty's like, by the time she figures out what you're saying, I could be out of here. So let's just move it along already. Skip the cut scene between you and the maid. I need to move.
Like he knows, okay, the VHS tapes that we're buying only contain 80 minutes worth of tape.
Yeah.
Not 81. Not 82. 80. We gotta go.
We don't have the LP or the SLP tapes. We got the regular ones. And we still gotta get the credits on this damn thing. And then from there, the professor spews out like the most exposition you've ever heard, and you don't know what of it is important. But he goes on to tell you that the Nazis either used elves as assassin squads because they're tiny and they can get in anywhere, or that they are the genetic creations that are also magical, and then they have a haploid gene for reproduction, and that they're meant to reproduce with somebody on Christmas Eve to bring about something, which we learn is the Antichrist.
Surprise.
Big surprise there. Santa does not have elves. Santa has the bringers of destruction, which in that context, you don't feel bad that Santa enslaves them. They have no other use other than the end of the world.
I just like to think he has a really good training program.
Yeah. Maybe he's rehabilitating them from their...
There it is. Yes. Because they're good enough. They're smart enough. And they can do good.
Yeah. In the meantime, back at Kirsten's home, boy, just another one of those things that you just can't broach that subject without bringing the entire film down. You don't do it in a little guy monster movie. You don't do it in a Christmas movie. What we find out is that Kirsten is the product of incest and that Grandpa is actually her father.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we get another scene in which Grandpa justifies himself and tells us exactly how he did it and that he drugged his own daughter. And it's like, oh God, like,
oh yeah,
your skin is crawling at every one of these scenes. It is so fucking unsettling and just didn't need to be a part of it. Like, didn't need to be a part of it.
That was way worse than any supposed horror scene or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that was just.
Yeah, exactly. This movie is not scary. Like, it's not scary.
No, not in the least.
Yeah.
No.
Like, this is not a scary movie. The gore is, middling. It's not over the top in any way.
Right.
But the killing of a cat and then incestuous reveals is just like, ugh. Like, it's just a complete turnoff. It's molding. And like, you can do it in any other fashion. You could say that the mom was a clone. Like,
right.
Like that the mom wasn't actually related to Grandpa. She was some sort of Nazi experiment. Not that she's his actual daughter. Okay.
Yeah, give us something here.
Yeah, you could do like some Frankenstein type stuff in the background. That's fine. Like, it's not great, but it's way better than straight up, I drugged my daughter, had an incest baby. You're that incest baby, by the way. And the reason why you're an incest baby is because Nazis, and I'm a Nazi, and you need to know that because the elf is coming for you because I need the elf to bring about the Fourth Reich. And it's like, what are we being told?
Yeah, wait a minute here. There's a whole lot going on all of a sudden.
There's a bunch of Nazi plotline, but also, hold on, don't move on from that. We're still on the incest stuff, dude, and that stuff's bad.
Yeah, we got to process this. We don't like it. We got to process this. But that brought up another interesting question to me. Well, what the hell's the story with the brother then?
Yeah, exactly. He's just there. Like,
he's just magically a brother.
Yeah.
Like, is he also an incest baby? Which is not a question I wanted to be asking today at all.
I don't believe he is, because when Kirsten and her mom are fighting about, she's like, you're like, oh, you hate dad too, because assumedly their dad is dead and out of the picture. We don't see him. So he's like, oh, I bet you hate dad too. And then like her mom goes off on this fucking breakdown where like, oh, your father's in the study. And she's like, no, Grandpa's in the study. And he's like, yeah, that's right. And it's like, ugh, yuck. But I assume Willie, the brother, is actually just the product of like who Kirsten thought her father was.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Just like it doesn't. Yeah. I don't think Willie doesn't have any stake in this movie, which.
No, not at all.
Which is very funny because his next appearance comes very soon, and that Kirsten just had all of these bombs dropped on her about the elf and the Nazi and her mother and her father. And she's standing like forlorn in her room, and Willie comes out of nowhere and goes, "Hey, where the presents at?"
Well, I don't think there's going to be very many this year.
Yeah. It's just such a... I don't know that it was an intentional comedic moment.
But it turned into one.
But it turned into one because Willie's just like, "Hey, I don't see as many presents. Where the presents at?" And it's like...
Yeah, just such a hard yank on the wheel.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, movie, you're not going to win us back from what you've revealed to us. I'm sorry.
No, there's no recovering from the incest to, some cheeky barbs about presents. No, not going to happen.
No. It does try to make us forget what just happened, though, with a fucking Looney Tunes explosion.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all.
It's not a well set up scene, but we can assume that Haggerty has been being followed by the Nazis since he left Grandpa's house last. And apparently, while Haggerty was in for that 1 minute, he was in the home of the professor.
Which, man, that was mighty convenient that they all worked at the same university and lived in the same town.
Yeah. Usually when you pick up a book, the person who wrote that book doesn't live in your town.
Right. Like, this guy's, UC Berkeley? I'm not going to get there.
Yeah. Whoops. It's going to be a little bit more than a drive.
Yeah.
I'm going to miss this one, I think. So, yes, he's in this 1 minute confrontation with the professor, but in that time, one of the ponytail Germans apparently threw a Looney Tunes bomb in his glove compartment because that's what he discovers as he's racing his way to his next destination.
Which did they even really show how he discovered it? Because what I remember, he's driving along, and then the very next scene, he's just got this bundle of dynamite in his hand.
It's
like, it didn't show him like rummaging around or anything, or this all of a sudden, oh, hey, I got dynamite.
Again, because they didn't fucking light the scene correctly. It's kind of hard to tell, but the way I took it was he popped the cigarette lighter in the car, and then was trying to put it back in and was slamming on it to put it back in. And in his slamming on the dashboard to put the cigarette lighter back in, it knocked the glove box open. So his shitbox car, like by his car being a shitbox, it aided him.
It saved his life.
Yeah.
So that scene was one of those things where, from a movie making perspective, there's one little thing that irked me.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use two cars that are the same size and the same color.
Mm.
They both used large white coupes.
Yeah.
Don't do that, because it can be very easy to get confused between the two, especially with how piss poor the lighting is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It looks like Haggerty's car is more 70s, I would say.
Yes.
And then
yes.
And then the bad guy's white coupe is just very 90s. Like, it looks almost brand fucking new. Like, they probably rented it off a lot.
Right.
For
it was a Ford Thunderbird. I do know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
but if you just, get a red one.
Yeah.
Get a green one. It's, just not two, large white cars. It's bad movie making.
Yeah, it's fucking confusing, especially because we're actually never given any other scenes earlier, like where we could identify this ponytail guy of like, oh, he's following Haggerty, or it's
right.
Yeah,
shows up with cartoon dynamite.
Right. Even the explosion is fucking not good. Like, filmed incorrectly.
No. It was not good
because it's the camera is moving during the explosion, which is bad setup one, and it misses half of the explosion because the car rolls into frame. So like they fucked up filming the actual explosion, and they didn't have multiple cameras on it. Like that's always
Right.
That's always the trope of 70s and 80s movies. If you're going to blow up a fucking car, you put as many cameras as possible on that, and then you cut it in the editing room, and an explosion lasts 4 fucking seconds because you have to see it from every angle. And that rules,
Right?
Because you like a big explosion.
Right. But no, you get half of an explosion that was not proportional to the amount of dynamite in that car.
No.
Whatsoever.
No. It's just, yeah. It's enough to keep you going through this film. But yeah, this film is like, at this point, it has been like weighing thin a lot of,
Yeah. You're starting to check the time, like, all right, how much we got? 20 minutes? All right, I can do this.
Yeah, how much of this is left? They do follow the explosion with Deanna Lund getting naked in the bath. So they have they have this starlet of space fiction films from the 60s, disrobing in the 90s and in 89. So like here's a little red meat for you. Like,
here's some TNA.
Yeah,
it'll keep you going.
We gotta make the audience forget what the fucking this movie is about.
Right. That was another weird thing. Like you have all of this mad trauma going on in the house, and then the mom just decides, I'm gonna go have me a bath.
Right. Yeah.
I need a little me time.
Yeah.
Like that just was the culmination of evil. Like all this shit's going down. She just destroyed worlds, and like, I'm gonna go have me a bubbly bath.
Yeah, she's had like a full-on breakdown in the mirror of like, spreading the lipstick all over her face, which is, another tropey thing, like a woman in hysterics spreading lipstick everywhere. Just
right.
Yeah, it's kind of lazy, and it just doesn't, I don't know. The whole payoff is just to get her into the bathroom to then get her naked. Like the filmmakers weren't putting together like a logical end for her. They were just
get her naked and get her killed.
Right, exactly. And then she gets the old bath time buddy of the troll elf. He pushes in a radio into the bathtub and electrocutes her. I guess the other thing that serves stupidly for the filmmakers is that it does cut the power off in the house, which makes the house more menacing, but
right.
They don't know how to light dark scenes, so it's to their detriment.
No, they don't.
They have some like fill lights coming in from it, but it's just the transfer is too fucking bad. Everything looks bad. It sucks.
and like you said, it's gone through how many iterations to get to us watching it.
Right.
VHS to to being ripped, to being compressed, and compressed again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was doomed to failure to begin with.
Yeah, and like,
but it did not have any help along the way.
This like the transfer we watched is, it was uploaded 3 years ago onto YouTube, and like the best resolution they can get out of it is 480. So
right,
and even then, like that's just 480 of the transfer that they put in. It's so whatever file they uploaded was 480.
Right.
So I don't know where this originated from, but that's the best resolution they had on hand.
Yeah, and that's the best we're probably ever going to get.
For a while, yeah, probably. It has to be a thing where like people die. Like whoever's holding on to the rights or holding on to the masters of this film, and then you also have to just get enough people interested in wanting a good copy of this film.
Right.
Like there's way worse films that get like good Blu-ray transfers, but it's because nobody has rights to them and they're easy to just go.
You could just do it.
Yeah. And then, and then make money off of it. So yeah, it takes a lot to get like an older film to, get a good release, but I don't know. There are
especially one that's as forgotten as this one.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Forgotten, poorly rated, insane.
Yeah.
Like there are
disturbing.
There are companies that like specialize in that. Like there's a company out there called Vinegar Syndrome, and they specialize in restoring and doing Blu-ray releases of like these obscure films, so we can have a good physical copy of a film that was more or less lost to time. So,
right.
Like, yeah, I applaud films, that do that. And I do think this film, like, does deserve to have, like, a good copy out there somewhere. But, yeah, it's just, it's hard to see when we're ever going to get it.
And if and when that ever does happen, I probably won't watch it.
No, why would you?
No.
Yeah.
I have no need nor desire.
Yeah. Like, I'll watch it again at a Blu-ray quality, because I want to see what the fuck is going on in some of these scenes.
That's a good point. There might be some stuff that, will clear a lot of this up. I doubt it, but there might be.
I just want to see what the actual effects are going on in some of these scenes. Mm-hmm. But yes, we've come to our, kind of final scenes here as everybody's converging back onto Grandpa's house. Dan Haggerty has arrived and they've found the mom electrocuted in the bathtub. All the lights are out in the house. They confront the grandpa. And this is where we get that Dan Haggerty shows him the symbol. And he's like, what is this? And he's like, it's the original Nazi symbol. And then he's like, look, I'll show you. And then it doesn't make sense because there was a sketch that Kirsten produced at the beginning of the film. And she says, look, I drew this virgin and she has Art Deco boobs. And that's not Art Deco because all she did was draw like black rectangles around her tits. And it's like, what does that have to do with Art Deco? That's not Art Deco.
Yeah.
You stink. You're not going to art school. That's why you're a waitress.
I'm glad to hear you say that it didn't make any sense because I was trying to figure out what the hell are they talking about here? This doesn't make sense. So I'm glad that I was not the only one.
Yeah.
I was not following.
It was just like kind of a lazy thing of like trying to introduce this concept of destiny to it. Mm-hmm. And so because Kirsten had been producing these drawings on her own, she was always destined to be a part of this ritual.
Right. It's a part of who she is.
Yeah, it's a part of who she is and who she's meant to be and the prophecy she'll fulfill because she has it inside her. She knows. And then Grandpa takes her dumb sketch and fucking just draws 2 lines between the rectangles. And it's like, it felt like such a 6th grader thing to do. I was just like, I'm drawing swastikas now.
It's on the back deck.
Yeah.
Or on the back desk.
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
in study hall.
Yeah. Like there's plenty of just like dumb kids. Like I was a dumb kid who drew swastikas at times. Like it doesn't like when you're young, it doesn't have the same important impact.
It doesn't mean anything.
Right. It's just, I was a kid who played Wolfenstein and the Nazis all had swastikas. And even though I knew they were the bad guys, it's still just like a cool symbol to doodle because it's like a thing. It's a shape, it's a shape to do.
Right.
And that's what that scene feels like. It feels like Grandpa is just doing dumb 6th grader shit of like, fucking Nazis.
It's like he's on a bathroom stall.
Yeah. He's like, I drew Nazis on her boobs. I drew swastikas. She got swastika titties.
Hey guys, come check this out.
Guys, check it out. She's got swastika titties. And it's stupid because he did this in response to Haggerty showing him the old symbol. And he's like, look, I can prove it to you. And then drew swastikas. And it's like, you didn't prove anything. You just did swastikas.
Didn't prove anything. No.
You just drew titty swastikas. What the fuck is wrong with you?
And everybody just accepted it. Like, oh, yeah, all right. Oh, I get it.
Sure.
Let's move along.
Yes, I guess. Let's keep this moving, I guess. The other Nazis break in and, they've decided that like they are also in the same cause, which again, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense because if it doesn't seem like Grandpa is on the side of Kirsten of protecting her from the elf. He doesn't seem like 100% in it.
Right. He's just sort of trying to walk a line that he's not doing a very good job of.
Yeah, he's kind of fence sitting a whole lot. Whereas the other Nazis are definitely for sure into it. They're just like, oh yeah, this is happening. They're like, this is meant to happen. And then
they have murdered in cold blood to make it happen.
Yeah. And then Grandpa is just kind of like shrugging his shoulders, is like, I don't know, maybe it happens.
Yeah. What will be shall be.
Yeah, I don't know. That's up to you, Kirsten. It's kind of, it's your body, your choice, I guess.
Yeah. And oh, by the way, I just totally trauma dumped all over you with everything that's wrong with your life right now. So good luck with that.
Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully you'll make the right decision for the Third Reich or the Fourth Reich. But yeah, the Nazis break in. They get into tussles. They get into fights. Grandpa kills one, sort of, by shooting him in the guts. Then the lead Nazi delivers probably the hardest line in this film. And it's funny because this line builds off that line we talked about before that they ripped off of Dawn of the Dead. Mm-hmm. Like, they actually build upon that line, and the fucking Nazi says, "Now that hell is full, I wonder where you will go," and blows Grandpa's brains out. And that line is hard as hell. Like, I wish it wasn't
that is a good line.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't a Nazi delivering it. Like, that should be Dan Haggerty's line.
Yes. And he would only say it once.
Right, he would only say it once, but like that's the line he should be saying to the lead Nazi as he blows the lead Nazi's brains out.
Yeah, that's the kind of line that you can smell the camel.
Yeah, and then
coming off of him.
Yeah, like he's literally dragging on the cigarette as he shoots him, and fucking They completely.
That was a miss.
Yeah, it was a complete miss. They completely, I assume, ran out of time with Haggerty on his contract or something because on his shooting days, because he gets fucking plugged by the dead Nazi on the ground. The dead
oh, by the way, you're dead now.
Yeah, the dead Nazi comes back to shoot Haggerty, and Haggerty goes down, and it's like, oh, like the one person we liked is no longer a part of this film.
I guess that storyline's done.
Yeah.
Great. What did we get out of it?
Yeah. So now we're left to Kirsten and Willie. And boy, they do have another good line here in which Willie is just like caught up in all of this. He has no idea what the fuck is going on.
No. Nor should he. He's 10.
Yeah, nor should he. He should not be subjected to like all of his family drama and everything else that's going on. He's just out of it. But he, asked Kirsten, he's like, "Are we going to be all right?" And Kirsten replies, "No, Gramps is a Nazi."
With no absolutely no follow-up either way.
Yeah.
Just he's a Nazi. Moving on.
Okay, doke. I'll explain it to you when you're fucking 20, maybe. But yeah, the rest of the film just devolves into this just near unwatchable end sequence of Kirsten running into the woods, being chased by the Nazi, being chased by the elf, and the Nazi gets her on the ground and is like trying to protect her until the ritual, but then it doesn't matter because the elf shoots him with the Luger.
Right.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
and then I guess we're done.
Well, you would think we were done, but no, we get some fumbling in the dark.
No, we're done.
We get some awkward fumbling in the dark, in which I guess we assume that the ritual goes through. And this is where I was trying to find media of this director, Jeffrey Mandel, just because like I wanted to know more about him, because like he's not working anymore apparently. And I could only find a couple things about him. One of them is that he likes to do ghost hunts in places.
Okay.
Yeah, he just likes to tour haunted houses and do ghost hunts. And the other was he was on this other podcast and he was doing like a watch along with this film. And
oh, all right.
I just scrubbed it for like the major scenes. And when they got to this scene, he brought it back up again about Brooks' line about just letting it happen so there's no confrontation. and he married that scene to what we're seeing here with the elf and Kirsten. And so that tells me he intentionally knew when he was writing and directing and creating the film, like that was intentional. That it's just kind of like an advocacy for just letting women be sexually assaulted.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah, and I was like, I couldn't believe like he was kind of just like that little bit dismissive and knowing of what he like was putting out there. And I was like, ew, dude, like what is this? Like this movie already has an ooh factor, but now I'm watching it through your eyes, and it's like double kind of ooh.
Yeah. So I mean, when he was talking about it, did he say anything like, "This was my mindset at the time, but now I realize it's pretty grody"? Or he just nope, that's the way it was.
No. He doesn't like even through the podcast, he doesn't really add much. Like he just he just kind of jumps in a couple times, and like he barely add. He doesn't give any good insight to what
so there was no inside baseball with him.
Yeah, I'm sure there's maybe a little bit in there, but like he just really, like when he should be explaining scenes and explaining what it's about, he's not there for it. He's just kind of like, it's like what Brooke said, like literally just kind of that. It's not it's not like in depth or like thoughtful in any way. He's just like, remember what Brooke said?
Just very like, service level.
Yeah, it's like that. So they're kind of like that together. I'm like, ugh, dude. Like, I think
it's pretty gross.
I think I know why you don't work anymore, because you're like, you're probably a fucking creep to be around.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dan in the chat says maybe it's like Stephen King, who didn't remember directing Maximum Overdrive. Yeah, I would not put it past Jeffrey Mandel doing a bunch of rails allegedly. And just
maybe
and having absolutely cooked his brains through the 80s. It's possible. But when you watch recent interviews with him, and he's just like, doesn't add much, and he's just like, oh, this is like a dumb guy made a movie, and just like doesn't like a dumb guy with money made a movie, and he doesn't actually know what he put out there.
But it's out there, and it sounds like the kind of thing where he was watching it again for the first time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have no idea, because again, like there's so little media of this guy out there. Like the podcast I was watching, they started it off with the preface that the host and Mandel met on a ghost hunting tour.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So just through that, they the host was able to get this director on. But yeah, it's other than that, like there's not like a lot of interviews or anything, and he hasn't tried to make a comeback.
Kind of see why.
Yeah, he hasn't really tried to make a comeback. He doesn't have like a social media presence at all. It just he just seems like a weird recluse who likes to do his little ghost hunts in Los Angeles. So I don't know.
Good for him.
I don't know what he's really up to. But I do know, this film ends with the elf impregnating Kirsten and seemingly offering her a bug as a final, here, would you
I guess, yeah.
Can I offer you a cockroach in this trying time? Willie ran back home, grabbed the elf stone, comes back too late, but still enough time for her to slam it in the ground and call the elf a slur and and blow him up. And then the movie becomes completely unwatchable because of compression issues and
yes,
the double exposure effect that they're running at the same time. It just YouTube will not compress that properly. No, you can't display it. And
at that point, I was like, well, that's pretty much the end of the movie, so I don't have to complain too much.
Yeah, no, it's just a weird thing of like, the world is melting down around them as fucking the elf is banished back into the ground. And yeah, they wake up Christmas morning and it's snowing and they're surrounded by burned out trees. And then our final little hint of like, oh no, because it's, it's always good when you make a movie, especially a horror movie, that you prep the sequel. And
yes,
we are given, an inside look of a heartbeat and a weird little candy cane fetus. And it's like, yes, the elf really did impregnate her. And that's the Antichrist. So we'll see what happens in Elves 2. No, we won't. Jeffrey Mandel doesn't have a career.
And that's okay.
Yeah. And that's the end of that.
Yeah. That was, I appreciate that they tried to set up the sequel. I appreciate that they had that optimism. But even if they tried to do it now, like if they tried to, reboot it now, like somehow on Instagram, that one scene blows everything up and like, we got to make a sequel for this. Yeah. There's no way you can transition from what they had in that movie in the 80s to today's climate.
No.
You can't do that. No. There's no way.
No. I mean, you can make the movie, but like it's not going to feel connected to the original movie as well, because your choices are make another cruel, like barely watchable Christmas movie with little guys in it, or you make it like goofy and funny or proper, like you make it the way it should have been made, and like you take out all the sex assault and you can leave the Nazis because Nazis are good villains, and there's no there's plenty of good catharsis anytime you kill Nazis on screen. That's great, that's fine,
right?
But
they need to take out all the creepy stuff and throw in all sorts of absurdity.
Yeah.
Just if you make it absurd, people will watch.
Yeah. And like that's kind of the big failing of this movie is like it hits too hard with like too many weird things. Like the Nazis are both your family and the villains. Your family is also incestuous, like your family's inbred because of Nazi leanings. Your mom's a cat killer. Your mom hates everybody. Your mom is evil. That's awful. Like there's so few redeeming things in this film. And like you said, it's not fun. Like there's no fun absurdity in this. Like the fun absurdity is Dan Haggerty smoking cigarettes and trying to speed run the film. That's the fun. Right. And that's fun we made up in our head,
Yeah. We had to find it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that sort of stuff, you sort of have to hit people over the head with it. When you're going through all the bad people and you don't even talk about Santa being a coke fiend.
Right.
That doesn't even make the list.
Yeah. That's
how bad are these people?
Yeah. That doesn't make the list, except for that was a thing. Like we had a fucking coke fiend sexual assault Santa. Like okay, that's a bad thing, and that could be a villain in any other film.
But here he doesn't even make the honorable mentions.
Right? Yeah, he doesn't make the list. We forget about him pretty quick because he fucking spills his coke and gets stabbed in the dick. Yep. Doesn't make the list.
That's it. Yep.
And because the film doesn't go very far with the violence, you don't even really remember him getting stabbed in the dick because it's not done in a graphic or memorable way.
Right. And that was something else that I picked up on was during the shootout at the OK Corral department store, the sound effects were just awful.
Oh, so like, this is the one bit of lore I did pick up.
Okay.
The director was talking about he was the one who did all the sound design for the film. And when he went to the studio to record sound, they didn't have any elements for Foley. So he had to make it all up on the spot. So it was like a lot of like throwing wet paper towels about and shit like that. So like he had, and if there's also times where like you feel like you're missing audio, it's just because he didn't have anything to make a sound for
that. That explains a lot.
Yeah. And everything else. So like all the gunshots and everything else would have been pulled from like a standard library. But like when you have to make bespoke sound for, what's on the screen, he had to do it. Like didn't have the tools for it. So yeah.
Right. It was just it kind of took me out of a movie that I already wasn't super interested in the first place. Just sort of took me out that little bit further. It's like, yeah, there are already people here I don't like, and now I can't hear them correctly.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean,
and what they're doing, right? It just
that's also like tape transfer, because you can hear the hiss of the tape through all of this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Honestly, that hiss I didn't hate, because that kind of took me back to watching that old VHS tape.
Yeah.
That was a small element of nostalgia that I didn't hate.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like a little bit of warm white noise. So yeah, you'll be okay with it. I can imagine though, like anybody who's never watched anything on VHS,
right,
that might like drive them crazy. Like anybody who's younger and never watched anything on VHS are going to be like, what the fuck is that noise?
Yeah. But to me, it was, it was nostalgia. It brought me back.
Yeah. But yep, that's Elves. That's 1989's Elves. It's a bad movie. And I suggest our audience to watch it, but I wouldn't suggest it to regular people, because it's so fucked up.
Yeah, don't bring it to a holiday movie night.
Oh God, no. Yeah, you're don't do that. You're gonna get kicked out and asked to leave.
Yeah,
like unless it's a group of your peers and they all like fucked up horror movies, then they probably all know. Yes. They probably all know about Elves, but just to introduce this to like a party of normies, they're gonna be upset, right? Yeah,
like me.
Yeah, like you. Yeah.
Like me. Yeah, if just. And chances are, if they are a group of your peers, chances are they're listening to this podcast already. So,
yeah, right.
They got the inside scoop just like you do.
Yeah. And if you've never seen it, now you know about it. And now you can make the decisions to whether or not you want to subject yourself to it and check it out. Like it has its moments. Most of them are Dan Haggerty moments, but like
they're pretty much all Dan Haggerty.
Yeah, pretty much all Dan Haggerty, but a couple. You also got to see like Willie's lines of like, I saw your big fucking tits, and I'm telling everybody.
Yeah, don't go out of your way to watch this movie, but if you enjoyed what we talked about, check it out. Yeah, it's not going to cost you anything.
Yeah, that's the other nice thing is like it's only existing in free formats unless you want to buy a VHS off Amazon.
Which don't.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, maybe, because the quality might be better.
That's a good point.
Quality might be better.
So I checked out a couple of different people have posted this movie on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all the same. The one that I had actually had a little bit of the tracking on it in the very beginning.
Oh yeah,
which was super nostalgic for me, of it trying to get rid of all the snow and the tracking and everying. And
yeah.
The whole thing is like this. I'm done. But it was like 15 seconds. Is like that was kind of nice. I kind of enjoyed that.
That's nice. I remember that.
Yeah.
I can't fix it myself right now because I'm on YouTube, but I remember. Right. I remember.
I'm watching this on a space phone.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Adam, for being subjected to another bad film. What was? Do you remember the film I had you watch the last time you were on?
Oh, I remember the film. I don't remember the name.
Was it the anthology series?
No.
Okay.
No. It was a more recent film. It had only been done in the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
It was very recent. Was it Frankenclaus?
Oh yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, I think it was Santa Stein though, actually. But
Santa Stein, that's what it was.
Santa Stein. Yeah. But yeah, you were also on for the anthology episode. So if you enjoyed Adam's recurrence on the Christmas episodes, go back and check those out as well, and check out Santa Stein and the Christmas anthology that we did. But
yes,
yeah,
always a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for jumping in here. If you want to come back for a better film, because we did the we had the little scheduling mishap here. We will be trying to revisit Bigfoot, the movie, the sequel with Bigfoot Ben. And so
now, all right, I have to ask this because it is from my perspective. Are we talking Bigfoot as in the Yeti or Bigfoot as in the monster truck?
Oh, it's as in the Yeti.
Oh, well, all right. I'll still, okay.
So, well, I can sell it to you better, and maybe you'll even just take this upon yourself to watch it. Bigfoot the movie is a Pittsburgh-produced film, and it stars Pittsburgh Dad.
Yes, that's right. I do remember that.
Yeah. So that came out in 2015, and you can find that on Tubi for free. They just released Bigfoot the movie, the sequel, this year onto you can rent it off of YouTube, Google Play, and Fandango at home. So if you want to come back on that episode, you're more than welcome. And I guarantee, because I watched like the first 5 or 10 minutes of that film, it's way better. It's way funnier. You'll have a better time. It's way better lit. It's competent.
I could actually follow along.
Yeah, you'll have a better time, and you can do Yinzer accent too. So
I'm liking all of these things.
Yeah. So if I can make it up to you in some way for inflicting this movie on you, you're welcome back to come back for that other movie too.
All right, I'm in.
Awesome. In the meantime, though, feel free to follow us on social media. Again, all the platforms, but not really X anymore. I don't pay attention to that as much. That's like purely promotion, and I don't get any engagement on there anymore anyway, because I don't pay for X. So fuck it. But follow us on Blue Sky, Threads, Instagram, Halloween is Forever, all those places. And follow us on Patreon at Halloween, or at patreon.com, Halloween is Forever. And that's about all I have to say. Do you have anything else, Adam? Anything you want to promote?
No, I'm off of all social media. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with any of that stuff. I am glad to hear that you guys are on Blue Sky rather than on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear you guys are going that direction.
He literally made the platform unusable. So
yeah,
what the fuck is the point? Yeah.
Well, honestly, once our podcast ran its course, yeah. Twitter and X, done with it.
Yeah. I still revisit the Hop Nation USA Twitter occasionally to retweet Creekside beers, and
nice.
That's about it. So
yeah, I have no desire to go over to that area. In terms of plugs, I don't know, make a donation to your local humane society.
There you go.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
Help out all the four-legged creatures out there.
Yeah. Help the dig dogs and the Kit Kats.
Yeah. And if you can, give them a couple extra scratches. Even the ones you got at home.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go there and they'll let you pet them. It's fine.
It's true. Just bring some extra dog food.
Yeah, just bring stuff. Yeah. All right, then. Well, for the Halloween is Forever crew, I'm Steve. And you say, I'm Adam.
Is that my line?
Yeah. You say, I'm Adam.
Oh. And I'm Adam.
We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.